Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. Oh, my broken cup. Showing you guys my broken cup. Oh, well. It's still one of my favorites. I got something in it. But it says, there's always time for friends and wine. So that's my cup for tonight. I'm sipping on Chardonnay. Let me
A
know
little
in the
hard to
comments
get a
what you're
handle
sipping
on
on.
things, though, with that.
Yeah, I know. Handle on that. Cute. So, you guys, I have Holly and Ray with me so far tonight. We're hoping that Cheryl tries to chime in because she tried to come back last week and we just had technical difficulties. And because we had the amazing guest, Graham Short, I didn't have the time to play with it and get her in. So, Cheryl, if you're out there, let's try again this week because we have, it's open chat. So there's more time that we could play with it. I can also get with you on the side and try to get you back in because we miss Cheryl, all of her expert information. But yeah, you guys, if you missed last week, go back and check it out. We had Graham Short and Chris Carey on. It was really, I felt like a really good Wine Wednesday. We learned a lot. We get to find out what's going on with seahorses in the wild. We learned about DNA. We learned about stuff that, is beyond me, to be honest. But it was fun. So go check that out. I still whoops, can you guys still hear me? Sorry, I
Yes.
touched it. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Fine.
So I did I'm reaching out to Aquaballs. We had Aquaballs on a couple weeks ago. If you missed that one, search that up. You can usually search by the name on Wine Wednesday. But that was really fun. Only I did not have him do his tour. He did his tour after we were live. So me and Holly got to see in the after party, but we didn't share it live. So I'm going to get him back in here in the next few weeks to give us a tour because his facility or his setup is freaking amazing. So
Yes.
cool. Hi Zen, hi Jeff. How we all doing tonight? It's open chat. So whatever you guys want to talk about, that's what we're here to talk about. I will ask Holly and Ray what they've got going on too. But you guys, I've got two actual announcements. The first announcement, which is huge, is if you're a member of Wine Wednesday and you've watched for many, many months, you will know that I did a water change some time ago, and I literally lost my favorite rock from the aquarium. Now, many of you will say, how the hell do you lose a rock, right? Well, I don't know how you lose a rock, but I did. And I thought maybe because, I just use the little 5-gallon buckets for my water changes. And often I will take the rocks out. If they're covered in algae, I'll take the rocks out, put them in the old tank water, scrub them, and then, dump the old water, rinse the rock in tank water, but clean, and then put the rock back. So I thought the whole time maybe I dumped the rock with because I was drinking wine when I did this said water change. So I thought maybe, I didn't know. I just couldn't find it. We looked all over the yard. We looked all over the house. Holly had comments like, well, it'll probably start to smell. We never, it just was gone. I found the rock, y'all. And now you can see why I love this rock.
It's pretty. Yeah,
It's
nice one.
such a cool shape and pretty, and I usually have it like arched up on something so it looks really pretty in the tank. So I found it.
It's a
It was,
coral. It's a dead
yeah,
coral, right? Yeah,
exactly.
that's nice. I love it. It's nice for seahorses to hitch on. I see why you love it.
And for macros to implant
And
in, right?
grow. Yeah, beautiful.
So, but here's the question, and this is a question I'm asking you guys and Ray and Holly. So this rock has been outside in my yard on the side of the house that we never use. Like, I don't know. It's very possible that like a dog picked it up or something and then put it down over there. It wasn't buried or anything, but I just don't know how it got over there. So this might have canine saliva in its pores. This definitely still has, you can see residue of algae that I've scraped off. I don't know if you can see with this light, but it's a little green in spots. There are also spots where there's dirt from the outside, right?
Yep.
So obviously I have no hope that there's any good bacteria in this rock. It's dried out. It's actually damp, but that's probably from the ground or something. But my question is, how do I make it safe for my tank? I want it back in my tank. How do I make it safe?
Just boil it.
Boil it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I would say probably, well, the thing is, I dry stuff. Like, I have a decoration sitting in my yard right now out in the heat. Like, I dry my stuff out there. I don't worry about anything other than the saltwater organisms. So I don't worry about dirt or pollens or bugs. I give them a rinse in my sink or in hot water and get all the crap off of them and just put them back in the tank. The only thing I worry about is bad stuff from salt water.
Okay.
If anything, I would, if you're worried about something with it, I would, yeah, either like Ray says, boil it, throw it in a bleach bucket for a couple hours, and then,
Dry it out.
yeah, but
Or
I
prime it.
don't think anything from your yard or dogs is going to hurt the seahorses. Wait till you come to my house and see all the bugs that frickin' collect in my tank.
Yeah. Hey guys, in case you didn't haven't heard me say it before, next week, literally next week, Blind Wednesday will be at Holly's house. I'm going to be in California. I'm so excited. If you're in California and you want to meet up with us, reach out. I don't know we'll have time. I'm only there for a week,
But
but we'll
Northern
try.
California,
Yes, northern.
I'm closer. I'm between Redding and Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ray, I did.
not Southern California, not
Gotcha.
on the coast, northeast.
So, okay, first, hi, Fish Fam Links. Second of all, yes, Northern California. Third of all, Ray, I did not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Fourth of all, I said hi to Fish Fam Links. So, Zen, you said, can you just bleach it or soak it in bleach and then soak it in prime water? I can. And, yes, you can. I'll be really honest with you guys. I bleach my socks. I'll bleach artificial
Mhm.
decorations. I've
Yep,
always been
yep.
really were like afraid to bleach rock, only because here's my next question for you guys: why does it still feel wet? Like, it hasn't rained. Well, I guess it's rained obviously since I lost the rock. This
Your
is a month.
environment might be more
Right.
humid than here. Bring it with you. It's going to be 100
Dry out.
plus next week. It'll dry out in an hour here,
Right.
guarantee you.
But I'm just saying, isn't that weird to you guys? Like, usually people set a rock out in the sun to dry it out. This
Mhm.
is wet. It feels like there's moisture inside it, I guess I should say. Like, it's not dripping wet, obviously. It just feels wet. So, like, look, my hand's got stuff on it now and it's wet.
Bring
I
it
found
with
that
you,
odd.
Kelly. It'll dry out here.
I want it in my tank before I leave, Holly. I want it in a tank before I leave. Sam Banfield, hello. You said acid treatment, bleach is ineffective. Okay, but let's dive into that just a little bit. Ineffective for what? Because Sam, what Holly was just saying is, you probably didn't hear the beginning of this. I lost this rock during a water change. No, I did not find it in the bucket, by the way, Zen Ginger. It was just out in the yard in this place where I never go. Really weird, on the side of the house that I never go. It's really weird. But anyway, and it wasn't there when I looked for it in the beginning. So that's why I think maybe a dog had it or something. But you
Yeah,
brought it back.
somebody ran off with it, and maybe it got left somewhere, and one of your kids or Sean found it and put it aside and didn't tell you
They
and
would have
forgot
told me
about it.
though. They would have told me. But anyways, I found it in the yard, and what we're discussing is whether or not I need to do anything besides maybe rinse it before I put it back in the tank. So when you're saying, Sam, that you need to do acid treatment, first of all, I'm very scared of acid treatment, just to be completely honest. Don't even know how to acquire acid, but I know that that's a thing and I know it's important. But isn't that important for like new rock that you've never used, that, or like live rock that you're afraid
Yeah,
has
yeah,
saltwater infestations in it?
that's what I'm
Because,
thinking.
so what Holly was saying before you came on is that this rock was in my tank.
Mm.
It was completely dried out, cured. You know,
Yeah, you're
it's been
not
in my
worrying
tank with.
about killing pathogens from your tank
Right,
is the
right.
thing to me. You just don't want to bring anything.
I don't
No.
want to bring anything from the yard. And I also, like, because it's still got green on it, guys,
Yeah.
I'm thinking since it's dried out, since there's nothing good left in it, one of the things I experienced in my reef tank is that I had a rock that I had put in, and I had phosphate problems, I had algae problems, I had all these problems. And after time, I finally figured out that this rock in my reef tank, not this rock, a different rock,
Mhm.
but it was leaching stuff. It
Yeah.
had stuff down in it that, when it got dried out, just
Mhm.
died in it. So then you add the rock and all this dead shit in the middle of the
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
starts coming out. So that's kind of my other fear because it's been dry for so long, right? So anything good in there that
Mhm.
again, sorry if I'm repeating myself, guys, but for
Yeah.
anybody who just joined, when I try to clean my rocks of algae or something like that, I'm doing my water change. I have tank water from the tank into the bucket, and then I'll pull the rock and scrub the rock in this tank water,
Mhm.
right? Then I'll dump the tank water, put more tank water in just to rinse it off anything that's,
Uh-huh.
not in the excess, and then I put it back in. So all the good stuff within the rock, the bacteria, whatever's in it, is staying inside of it because I'm keeping it in salt water the whole time. So now this rock has been out of salt water for over a month. I don't know, I'm worried about what might be
I
leached because
think
it died.
Sam Banfield has a point though. Is there going to be like organic matter inside of it left
That's
over from your tank
cheers.
that's going to be dying off
Right.
and pulling the so I would say, she's on the right track there. Do you have pesticides at all in your yard or any poisons you're worried about there or just tank stuff?
Not that I know of. I'm just worried. I'm currently just worried about tank stuff, but that's another thought to think about is that I don't know what the neighbor does, right?
So I think Sam's right. It could leach organics because when you get it back in the water, there might be more stuff dying off of it. So you might
Right.
want to put it through
So,
a treatment like she's saying, and then maybe stick it in a bucket by itself for a
right,
while
I could
and
well
check.
well now you're getting into talking about curing, and I could do
Yeah,
that. That
I
I know
wouldn't
that's
worry about it personally, but
sure.
because it is it's a coral. I mean,
Yeah.
most of my stuff is artificial
Mm.
decorations, but if I did have like a live rock piece or something like that, then I think Sam's on the right track. You might
So,
worry about it leaching organics,
and
possibly.
that's I was saying that in the non-technical term. Thank you, Sam, for saying it the correct way. I was saying the crap in the rock might come out, but
Yes,
it
I
might
get you.
leach organics. So, Sam, I'm just curious. Tell me more about the acid treatment. I've heard of it. I remember Lori in the reefing community used to talk about it all the time. I don't know anything about acid treatment. I don't know how to procure acid. I know that you have to be real careful, wear gloves, all this, I don't know that it's so. Let me put it this way. We all agree that Sam is absolutely correct. But my question to Sam is it worth it for one little rock? So, is the die off that much of a danger from one little rock? And Zen asked about foggers. I don't even know if they do fogger. I have
Well,
no idea.
mosquito fight. Like if you're fighting pests at your house, like is it anything you're doing in your yard with pesticides? If
Okay.
not, you don't have to worry about that. You're only worrying about the
The organics.
organics from
Right.
the rock itself, I think.
So
But it's
Sam
not
is,
really a rock, it's a coral piece, right?
it's still porous. I'm calling it a rock. It's a rock. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam said muriatic acid,
Mhm.
and then you have to neutralize the acid. So it sounds like a very similar process to bleach and then prime.
Yeah.
So what's the prime for muriatic acid? Is it prime? I mean, does prime work to neutralize, or what do you
Now,
use?
all you can do
This
basically is, if you want to neutralize it, you can use baking soda and water. But the
okay.
thing is, uh, for me, it wouldn't be worth it to get um, the muriatic, which is hydrochloric acid, just for one rock. And
Yeah.
I've always had hydrochloric acid here, um, and I still didn't use it on the rocks and that. I boiled them, and the boiling is sufficient to get much of that dead organic material out. And the reason the acid works on getting it out is it reacts with the lime in the rocks, and it
Okay.
effervesces and it foams and lifts that stuff out. But when you boil the rock, uh, you're not going to have to worry about neutralizing it, and you're going to get enough out that anything that's left is not going to be a problem. You've probably got more organic than what will be left in that rock just in your tank already.
So let me show Sam the rock again. But when I tell you guys my second announcement of the day, that might lend to this conversation because I'm kind of okay with a little bit of organics in the tank. You'll understand in a moment. But this is the rock, Sam, next to my head. This is
Yeah.
the rock. So it's very cool and very shapely. It's not like a big old hunk of rock. It's got more
It's
pieces coming out of
porous.
it.
It has a lot of little crevices and
So
things,
but
right?
it's not. So I wish I could do a close up. It's not that porous.
It's actually
Like,
pretty smooth for a coral,
yeah,
looks like to me. Mine were always all filled with cavities and
they,
crevices and
they are there. I'm not saying they're not, but this I would agree is a very smooth piece. Tank size, Sam, 40-gallon. It's an all-in-one, so no sump. I know, but I'm doing it to prove a point and it's working out. It is still porous. No, I agree, Sam. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's not like some of the pieces you see that like the
not,
holes are
yeah,
really obvious and
extreme, yeah.
etc. So, oh, right. So the muriatic acid is available from pool supply places.
Wool
So
supply. Mhm.
so if I were to do this just for an experiment, maybe make a video, I need to start making more videos for the channel. If I were to do this, what's the safety stuff? Because I know it's like it can hurt you. Like this is serious stuff, right? You can burn yourself, right, Ray?
Yep.
Chemical
So
burn, yeah.
so what do you have to you just use gloves and tongs and what?
Well, see, because I've worked with chemicals and especially acids many, many years ago, I have enough experience with it and I don't bother taking precautions.
Oh, Ray.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
no,
say that live.
typical man. No, it's
You,
not the same
you
way.
take all the precautions you can.
All right, we take the
Gloves and
precautions, folks.
goggles.
Gloves and
Gloves and
goggles.
goggles, but I'm
So
with Sam. I don't think I would bother.
Sam has decided, and I trust Sam with everything,
Mhm.
but Sam has decided that for that rock, when it's not the only rock, and there's other rocks and other filtration in the tank, that I shouldn't worry. But like just for the case of if I wanted to do it to make a video, Sam, can you send me like or tell me here like a here's how you do it. It's this percentage of muriatic acid to this percentage of whatever. You do it for this long, and then you have to neutralize it for this long with this. I would love to have that kind of like instructional just in case. Um, so please send that to me or say it here if you're able, if it's not too long. But yeah, I'll let you guys know what I decide to do. Like I said, I'd like to do the muriatic acid just for a video.
Yeah.
But if I don't have time, since I am going to California in a few days,
Yeah.
um,
Just bring it with you and put it in the
we'll dry
sun
it
here
out.
for
Yeah.
a day and it'll kill whatever's in
So
there.
so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Holly talk real quick about what's been going on with her while I go grab what I need to show you guys for announcement number 2. Big changes are coming in my tank. Holly, what's going on with you, or have discussions while I walk away for a moment? I love putting Holly on the spot. She
Yeah,
loves it
yeah,
too.
yeah. Okay. So back in the winter when we were discussing Kelly coming out to visit me, she expressed to me that she wanted to experience heat in California. So I think she kind of cursed us because where I live, we've been in a heat wave, and I live in the semi mountains. I'm at 3,000 feet. And so we are in a heat wave right now to where our temperatures are reaching 100 degrees plus in the mountains. The valley, when she's going to be coming into Sacramento, we're talking 100 degrees plus, 105, 110, 115. And I look at my calendar and my phone app that tells me temperatures, and our temps are going to fall by the time she flies in. So we'll only be here where I live around 95 when she comes, but Sacramento is going to be 100, 105. And so she's coming into the heat of California. Now, in this time, we have a major fire going. They've actually brought in aircraft from Australia to fight it. And it's not anywhere near me, thankfully. So we're safe, but it's in a community not far from here where I used to live. It's threatening neighborhoods near one of our biggest lake reservoirs, Lake Oroville, which is power and water supply for a lot of California, is being threatened by this fire right now. And so
So
it's
I
been
cursed
kind of
us.
crazy here. Yeah. So I haven't talked to Kelly about it at all. I don't want to scare her because actually we're doing fine and we're going to be fine. And it's going to cool down a bit when you come. But when you come, you are going to see Northern California fire season and the heat that we get for yourself. And you're also going to see how beautiful it is here because I'm going to take you to some beautiful high mountain places where
We'll
we're
be
at elevation of 8,000 feet plus. And I have Diamox if you need it. So,
so I would say in response to that, because I could hear everything even though I walked away, is that guys, I know I've sucked at posting lately, but when I'm in California, I'll be posting like crazy. So you guys are gonna
we'll
experience it
see.
with
We're
me.
going to be off the grid, Kelly. A lot of where we're
I'll
driving,
still
there's going
take
to be no
pictures.
cell phone connection. So you'll come home and download a bunch of stuff because we will get no cell reception where
I
I'm sitting.
understand. I'll still make it happen, guys. I'll still make it happen. And Sam said,
I'll make
really
sure she
cool.
does too.
Yeah, she's going to also help me, for those that are members of the channel, get the shirts done, so that we can
Yeah.
get the shirts that were
Wednesday's
promised to
all
our
about the
members.
seahorses and local stuff here. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll try to make video. I think maybe you can help with videos of my tanks and how I do stuff and that you're always wanting. So
Yes, absolutely. Ray said, I think the only way safe for Kelly to use acid is not use it. Ray,
Couldn't resist
Ray.
it.
I
like I
know.
said, pack the rock and bring it here and we'll just cook it in the 115-degree heat and you won't have to worry about
See,
anything.
but that's no, but that's my other question though, is I know that I'm supposed to be the pro in this stuff, but it really doesn't make sense to me. You dry out a rock, yes, but you're not getting rid of what's inside of it. You're just not. You're drying out what's on the outside. The
Yeah.
dry out method works in certain situations. But like if you're worried about, say, live rock that you don't know where it came from or that kind of thing, I really think you have to find a way to get inside of it, whether it be maybe boiling. I don't know how deep that goes, or using the acid. You got to pull out what's in it because
Yeah.
the dry out, and I know you were just being silly, but being serious, like for anybody watching, I would not feel, if I was worried about this rock, if I
If it
decided that it
wasn't
was
from your tank, I think is a big
right.
deal.
If it wasn't from my tank, or if I was worried about it for whatever reason, then I would not find drying it out and a good enough method, if that makes sense. And
Hmm.
I am curious to Sam too. I want to know why bleaching is ineffective, because that's a method that a lot of people use. And you
Not
said
going to
it's not.
remove the organics.
It's not going to. So the only
No,
thing to
all it's
remove
going
the
to do is kill
organics.
off. It'll just kill off live life forms,
Hmm.
So it
whatever
would get
comes
rid
with
of.
it. But boiling will do the same thing.
So wait, Ray,
And
real
then you
quick.
don't have to use a neutralizer afterwards, like prime.
So real quick. So if you got a rock from a tank you don't know, and you're just you've seen Aptasia in that tank, you've seen bristleworms, you've seen all that, then you would, if you were worried about that for with the rock, you would use bleach. You could use drying out, yes or no? Would drying out work for all the pests too?
Not for everything. There'll be bacteria still alive and probably other life forms that I know.
Aptasia.
Pardon? Um,
Aptasia. I've seen
the
Aptasia survive a dry
aptasia
out.
will live, yeah, because they have spores or not spores.
They encase themselves.
Um, what they release anyway, it'll stay in the rock and and it'll stay dormant and then come alive again when it's put back in the water. But if you boil it, that will kill off those aptasia spores.
So where I'm at is you got a rock from another tank. If you want to kill off the pest, you either boil or you bleach. Then if you want to kill off organics, you have to use the muriatic acid, correct?
Well, for me, I just don't see the point of using bleach on rock when um, boiling is so much easier. You're not paying for the bleach, which isn't too bad to begin with, but then the
Yeah.
prime is not cheap. And when you're doing rock, especially if you've got any amount of it to speak of, you're going to go through a hell of a lot of prime.
Sure,
And
sure.
unless you have some reason to really need to use bleach, then why go to that expense?
So isn't there a danger in boiling rock? Zen Ginger said, Google boiling rock.
Well, I think
You got to
that's
be
more
careful.
rocks that are in freshwater tanks.
Why?
Well,
What? Why is that?
it's made up different. Like you've
Okay.
got
Oh,
slate
yeah.
like the rock. Uh,
Yeah.
it's all a different. It's a different structure altogether than what you find
Yes.
for reef rock. Reef rock is all made up of coral skeletons
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
built up over a long period of time, and it doesn't react the same way. It doesn't have that explosive power that a lot of freshwater rocks will have. There's a lot of freshwater rocks that'll be okay, but there are
Mhm.
Sure.
certain types that just won't take the heat well.
So
Well,
Zen
I
said
have
live.
a,
Wait, hang
I
on,
have
hang
a
on,
question too.
hang on, Holly. So Zen said that live rock from reef tanks being boiled can make people sick.
What
Have
was
you
that?
heard that? Zen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Zen Ginger said boiling live rock from a reef tank can make you sick. I think I read that somewhere too. I really
Huh.
feel like I did.
Well,
News to you?
I've been doing it for an awful lot of decades.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never
I
bought reef rock for any at any time other than when I first got into the hobby
Gotcha.
back in the very early 90s. I just keep reusing it over and over.
So
so I have a question now that we're talking about boiling. What is the effect of freezing temperatures on reef rock?
That might break it.
yeah, I don't see that as helping.
I have a like remember years ago I pulled all my live rock and I put it through bleach cycles and I just threw it all in a bucket that's been outside for years now. But we go through freezing temperatures here in the winter and
Mhm.
I'm just wondering what's the effect of cold on it?
I don't think it does anything to like organics or pests or any of that.
Well,
But
I don't think you're going to get severe enough cold there to make a matter.
Hmm.
If you put it in your freezer at minus 20,
Yeah.
then you're going to have the calcium content is going to powder
Uh-huh.
and
Oh,
it'll start coming apart.
Now we
oh,
get our lowest lows that I've seen are roughly 25 Fahrenheit is the
Yeah.
lowest I've seen it get here.
Yes, that won't do anything to it.
that's interesting though.
Interesting.
That it'll start crumbling apart in freezing temperatures. That makes sense. That really does make sense. Um, right. And then, no, yeah, no, we appreciate you saying it because it's something that I'm going to research and, come back and talk about maybe next week while I'm at Holly's because, we don't want to say go do something that might be dangerous. So we appreciate you saying it. So guys, I'm going to move forward and tell you the other reason why I might not be so afraid of the organics that will probably be leached from this rock. Um, because it's small enough that it's not going to make a big indent, and because I've decided to do macros again. I'm trying to get Macro Lady to come on the channel. She's very busy, but if we get her in, and I'm trying to place an order with her to get some more macros, but I'm planning to cover my tank in macros again. I'll work on breeding in the 65 gallon. I'm going to work on macros in the 40 gallon. So I did order from my trusted old partner, Gulf Coast Ecosystems, and I know I can't open them because I don't want to open them until I'm ready to put them in. But look at these sizes. Is that not insane? This is macros. Like,
Oh
I don't
wow.
know. Like, that's a portion for $10 to $12. It's nuts. And I got that's 4 different species. And I will post pictures, but here's some other species. Now, some of them are smaller. I don't know that's a very small portion, but it's the more expensive algae. It's the blue hypnea and I think the halomedia. I'm not sure, but I will go through it and show you. I literally just got this on my porch before we went live,
Now are these
but
safe
I
or they
also
need
got
to be quarantined? Like are
look.
they
Hang on, Holly. Let me finish. Let me finish. So I got a big old gorgonian to go in the tank. That's
sweet?
codium in the middle. I got my favorite tuft algae. Look at that portion. That's insane. That's really big for the price he charges. So I'm really happy with the order. I got some snails. I got a bunch of macro stuff. So get ready, guys. But my point is, one of the things when I was keeping the macros prior is that, I didn't like dose anything for a really long time until things started to maybe not do as well. Then I would start dosing things like iron and whatever. But in the beginning, in my macro tank that was in the magazine and all that, um, I just had the seahorse poop feeding the system. That was it. The organics from the seahorses and from the tank and the feedings and all that was enough with the right lighting to make macros do splendidly. So I'm going to play with it again and just see, what is what. But I'm just saying a little bit of organics from that rock might be a helpful thing, right? Because I want a little bit of nitrites
Mhm.
not nitrites, sorry, nitrates. I want a little bit of phosphate, for the macros. And that tank's growing some nuisance algae, so I'm thinking that this algae will grow splendidly. But we'll play with it. And then a lot of people ask me about macros, and it's been so long since I kept them that it's like it takes me a minute. Like people say, what kind of lighting? How many watts? And it's been a minute. So I'm like, oh, I just use this light. So now I'm going to play with it. That way I'll be able to answer the questions correctly and based on current experience. But Holly, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was just asking you, is it safe to go in the tank right now, or do you need to quarantine it, or, for pests or whatever? Like, what condition is it?
So Ray, I want to talk about the comment you just made too. But Holly, so here's the here's the risk tolerance level, right? So I, excuse me, I personally have always been a proponent for quarantining macros.
Mhm.
However, having kept so many macros in the past, I know that some don't do well in quarantine. Another thing I would say is rinsing the macros. A lot of people talk about rinsing every macro before you put it in quarantine or before you put it in the tank. I know many macros that if you rinse them in tap water or in even distilled water,
They don't
they're
like it.
they will not
Yeah.
survive for you. So it's an iffy thing. I'm gonna have to go through
Ah,
each. Sorry, you all right?
She
You
saw a
following
bug.
us?
yeah, no, my computer fell
She saw
over.
a bug. Ray said you saw a bug. So in this case,
No, I
I
knocked the computer off my stand.
gotcha. So
And
in this
now I
case,
touched some stuff I shouldn't have, so I have to turn it off and it's doing weird
okay.
shit.
Well, while you do that, I will just say my answer is I will absolutely be putting all of this macro and the gorgonian in a small tank with a light for at least a few days, as long as I can possibly manage, only because I'm going to California, but to observe. Because if you're buying, and that's the other thing I would say is it totally depends on your where you're buying from. If you're buying from Algae Barn and they have the clean macros, I would not worry a bit about those. I'd throw them right in the tank. If you're buying from Macro Lady, right? I would talk to her and ask her opinion. But depending on what tank that macro is coming from, if it's a clean tank, which she's kept pest free, I would not worry about throwing them right in. In this case, Gulf Coast Ecosystems collects these macros from the ocean. So, no, I'm not okay with just throwing them in. I'm not going to rinse them only because I know some of the species I have are really delicate and they will fall apart. The snails, I will absolutely rinse and scrub their shells before I put them anywhere. But I'm going to put them in a small tank with a light. I'm going to feed that tank so that anything like Aptasia
Will
that
come
might be
out.
hidden will come out. And that's how I'm going to handle the situation. So, yeah, again, guys, the pictures of the macros in the tank won't be tomorrow, but I will post them. But yeah, I'm absolutely going to give it an observation quarantine because that will at least make me feel better about any pests. There is still
Yeah.
absolutely a risk. If you don't put macros or coral through a treatment before you put them in your tank, it is a risk. At this point, because I have two tanks and I'm going to switch the breeding to the 65-gallon, I'm willing to take that risk in the 40-gallon after my observational quarantine, if that makes sense.
Well, you could probably rinse them in fresh salt water, though, right? Like in a bucket
Yes,
of salt water, you could
sure.
get so anything clinging to them is gone. You can
Well,
kind
and I
of
would,
watch that
I would,
stuff you
I would
see.
I would do that. Well, I will do that, if there's
Hmm.
something on them. But I've
Yeah,
already inspected them. There's nothing on them that I can
nice.
see with my eyes.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean there's nothing there. And
Right.
that's kind of the same difference as putting them in salt water with, I'll
Hmm.
probably not put any kind of wave maker, but I'll put a bubbler and such so that there is movement and
Hmm.
things should fall off that way. If there was anything stuck on them, I'd absolutely clean them. Hey
Hmm.
Jeff. Hey Coro. How you
The real
doing?
reason, though, for using tap water or non-salted water is much like doing a freshwater dip. If you
Yes.
dump
Mm-hmm.
something in there that's living that lives in the salt water, the fresh water is most likely going to kill it off. But as Kelly said there, some of the mackerel will not take any fresh
Yeah, they
water
don't
at
want
all.
that.
It
So
will kill off. But if you know which
is
macros
which.
will and will not, then you can always treat the ones that
Hmm.
So
will
it
accept it.
I totally agree, Ray, and that's basically what I'm going to do. And I will do my best, guys. I'm still working on the website, but that's what I want to provide for you guys is like an article stating which ones can handle it, which ones can't. And there's never a guarantee. Like I don't ever want to say this macro can handle it and then it die on you and you think it's because you rinsed it. No. But there's just some delicate, I
Yeah.
probably pronounce these things wrong, but Halaminia species, they're
Hmm.
like silk and they're so delicate. And if you rinse them, whatever that slimy protective
They
coat
don't
on
like
that
it.
macro,
Mhm.
they're not going to survive.
Right.
So I'm not going to promise that the article will be done in a week, but I will at least post pictures of these are the macros that I did freshwater dip. These are the macros that I'm, observing to make sure that I don't see pests. And then I'll let you guys know the truth. If it's a huge mistake and everything goes to shit, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But sometimes it's just what you're willing to risk. I'm not sure I would take so many risks if I didn't have two tanks. I do want to mention that. So if it's
Yeah.
your only tank, you might want to be more careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends on where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff's doing some research on seahorses. They're so fun, Jeff. I mean,
They're
I
awesome
don't know.
critters.
I can tell you're an aquatic. You're a person that does things and cool things. And I would just say seahorses is one of the things that every cool saltwater enthusiast should do because they are unlike any other fish. Not that they're so difficult you can't keep them,
Mhm.
but that they're so um, much like a pet,
Their
right?
personalities are amazing for a fish. They
They're
really,
like little
they really
puppies.
are. They're like little dogs. Now
Yes.
they're the closest thing in the fish world that I've had to dogs.
You know what? Uh, Let me ask a question. Hang on. Yes, I do. I ever do salt. Oh, you don't do salt yet, so you're a freshie like Zen. We've already pulled Zen into our corner. We're gonna make her do seahorses. But yeah, Jeff even has a seahorse logo. What the heck? You
Mhm.
gotta do them now. I
Yeah.
I want to go do a quick video, like 10-second video, just to show you guys walking up to my tank right now when I'm not feeding
Yeah.
them and everything else. But I want to ask a question so you can talk about it. Um, so Sam said it's only really the organic low dry rock. You never quarantine macros, really? That's interesting to me that you never quarantine macros because I can tell you in my reef tank, I haven't had problems in seahorse tanks, but in my reef tank, my good friend sent me this huge gorgonian. I know that's not really a macro; it's a coral, but
Hmm.
I'm just saying for the record, he sent me this huge gorgonian. It was so gorgeous. That mofo had hydroids all over its base that I didn't see when I put it in there.
Oh,
Hydroids everywhere that just
oh my.
took over the tank. I've also had a lot of things like bristleworms and aptasia and stuff like that come in on macros. So
They
I'm
can.
not about ruining them by dipping them or whatnot, but I'm all about observing them. If Cheryl was here, she would argue with me. She quarantines every macro for six
Yeah.
months. She dips every macro. She
Yeah.
doesn't care. I want the more delicate species in the tank, so that's a risk I'm willing to take, kind of thing. I'm
Mhm.
just honest here, guys. But as I go take this video, what can I ask Ray to talk about or Holly? What do we want them to talk about while I go take a 5-second video, guys? Ray, oh, I got something. Ray, you said once macroed, the seahorses will probably produce for me. Why do you think
Just a
that?
sec here. I gotta cut down something. Uh,
Huh? Oh, okay.
sorry. Uh, can
So
you
why do you think that macros in the tank would cause the seahorses to produce?
just experience?
Give me more than that, Ray. I want you to talk for a second.
I had a lot of people that when I sold seahorses to them, and they never ever could end up getting them to produce. And the ones that ended up going with either seagrasses or macros and that, they were the ones that finally got production out of them.
They had a comfortable habitat for. They liked that. Sounds like it made them happy.
I think it did something to them. I don't,
Hmm.
there's nothing scientific about it, but when,
Right.
over the years, when you have enough people that do that and it works.
Hmm.
Anyway,
That makes
are
sense.
you listening, Holly?
Yes, and yeah, I said that makes sense to me.
Or okay, no, I should have said Kelly.
I'm
Mhm,
back. I'm back. What'd you
mhm.
say?
Okay, can you post that link for Jeff?
Yeah.
Because I try it and it doesn't come up.
Okay. Sure. Here we go. Oh, the fuse draw? Yeah, absolutely. What are we posting, Ray?
That's yeah, that's the fused jaw one, and it's an archived link because obviously she's not maintaining it anymore with her problems. But it's got so much information on it that can help for someone that wants to get into it. And not every single link will work, and it works slow because it's an archive site. But it's well worth um, going to that site to
Mhm.
read the articles, read well just about anything on there.
And I do have Tammy's permission to reproduce those on the site that I'm working on. It's
Mhm.
just, man, it takes forever to finish the site. I'm not as quick as Ray and other people. So
Mhm.
definitely thank God she has the archived items. Sam, about the. So, real quick, I told you guys I was going to go take a video. I'll be damned if nobody came to the glass. I was like, what? They
Right.
always, you walk up to the tank and seahorses usually charge you, but I fed them right before we went
I was
live.
gonna say it depends on
So,
the time of day. If it's
right.
feeding time, yeah, but if they're full, then they
Well,
don't do
I would
it.
say anytime I come up to, anytime aside from right after you fed them, they're
Yeah.
going to be interacting with you and dancing for you and begging for
They're
food. That's
interesting.
what it
Now I
is.
have to
But
hide from mine. I come into the
yeah,
room and I'm too busy and because I'm not consistent necessarily with feedings based on my schedule. I try to be, but I'm not always. And if I come home like say late and I'm busy, they say, "Oh, mom's home." And they come and watch for me and go to their feeding stations and they're like, "Okay, we're
come
waiting
on.
for you.
Right.
Yeah, we know you're home now. So, hey, do a friend
Right.
a favor." But yeah, no, they're very attentive to you. They do pay attention to you. I can lead my seahorses, especially certain ones, through the tank with my finger. If I want them to go somewhere, they'll follow my finger and I can communicate with them on
Which
their
is just
level.
insane for a
Yeah,
fish.
no,
Right.
they pay attention and yeah, they'll get you sometimes more than you get them.
So, just to let you guys know, when I did walk up to the tank, I'm walking back there now because I'm
Mhm.
trying to get a video of them rushing me at the tank. But because I just fed them, of course, they're
They're
not
not
going to.
rushing, yeah, but they're
Right.
all still looking
But
at you probably.
I would also say I haven't posted the pictures I need to, but I've taken many. I
Mhm.
don't think I told you guys, or I think I told you, but never posted the pictures. I got two seahorses from Macro Lady, and I
Yeah,
split the seahorses into different tanks. But this two seahorses from Macro Lady are doing fantastic, and
nice,
that's what they're doing is they're back there courting. I mean, they're
nice.
Ray's probably right. As soon as I add these macros, watch them give me fry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Holly or Sam said, I think it's happy seahorses that breed. Exactly. For
Mhm.
some reason, the seahorses I had in the tank just didn't like each other, maybe didn't like the way I had the tank. Who knows?
Mhm.
Who knows? They were happy seahorses, content in being alive, but they weren't giving me fry. So
Yeah,
we're
mine
trying to
fool
change that.
around a lot, but nobody's having babies now. I
Right.
only had one male that really had figured it out, and then I had another one briefly that probably would have had he been healthy. The one that I had sold and then was returned to me
Right.
was a breeder. The females loved him. He knew how to dance. He went through everything. I think he would have been the one, to have Fry. I almost wish I wouldn't have sold him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Right.
he was bold, and most of my other male are not. They hang out with the females and they do flirting and stuff, but they don't have the kind of bold
Well, and I would say Jeff.
mating drive that he did.
Sure. So, Jeff, I would say too, until Kelly gets to posting, and I'm going to, but until I do, go check out Holly's channel. She has tons of videos where she shows them, interacting, swimming around, interacting with each other. I mean, or join Seahorse Whisperer group and Seahorse
And it's
Sources group.
mostly just my private Facebook. I'm Holly
Yeah.
Milliner. I mean, look me up and yeah, say
But
you're the Seahorse group. I'll accept, and I share stuff on the seahorses and other stuff I'm doing. Almost every day. That's pretty much my life is taking care of the seahorses now. So
yeah.
there's
Well,
all
I will also say before we move on to Zen Ginger's question that the pair that I bought from Macro Lady um, have already given her Fry, so
Mhm.
they've already had their first
Yeah.
batch. So if they don't in my tank, then we know it's my tank, and then we got to figure out what's wrong with my tank. I've always said it's better to have a bigger tank and all that. But again, guys, my first tank, when I knew nothing, I had 4 seahorses in a 29-gallon tank with a bunch of macros that helped with, the fact that it was too small of a tank for 4 seahorses. And they bred like crazy. So sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. You can
Right.
make rules, but it's just if they want to.
Well, my one, it was back when I had live rock and the tank was like a swamp. It was becoming overgrown with algae and
Yeah.
it was not the best, healthiest conditions for seahorses. But that one seahorse was
Yeah.
breeding like it left and right. I mean, I had a bunch of batches back to back within like a year, but he passed away early
Yeah. So,
because of organics, like Ray says. And I was learning at that time how to work with all this and fight it. And I think he was kind of a casualty of that, of me not
sure.
knowing, and the mating and every was taking a toll on him health wise on top of the
Yeah,
conditions.
because here's the thing, guys. The macros do help, and make them possibly happier because they're taking up organics. If you're harvesting macros, like
Mm-hmm.
they can take it up, but you got to take it out. It's still sitting there until you take it out, right? Just like an algae scrubber. But I mean, the commercial breeders, hoping to have a commercial breeder come in and talk to us too. By the way, I got to get back with him. We were supposed to talk and we never did. Anyways, I'm rambling. What I was going to say is people like Dan and Alyssa, they don't have macros. They have completely clean,
Of
absolutely
the tub.
sterile
Yeah.
conditions. And their seahorses breed and their fry live. So there's no right answer. There really isn't. Let's go to Zen's question. I know mollies can go salt and they also eat hydra. Could one have a saltwater molly tank to quarantine stuff that may have critters? Huh. Interesting. Thoughts? No thoughts. Ray,
I
no
don't
thoughts?
know. Well, the thing for me is I don't quarantine because I don't bring in new stuff. I brought in all my critters, seahorses and everybody else in the beginning and haven't added anything in
Sure.
years. So I don't deal with quarantine. When I got my seahorses, I put them in a tank that was pretty much designed for
For
them,
them.
that was
Mm-hmm.
already established.
Yep.
So I didn't do any quarantining. I just took them out of the bag like we talk about by hand, reach them out of the bag, and they curl their little tail on your finger to hold on. Here you go. You're in your new house.
Yep.
And that
So,
was it. Because I
so
bought from a reputable source of seahorses, so I wasn't
absolutely.
worried about the seahorses bringing in diseases, and the fish that were already in the tank had been there a while. So
Yep.
I didn't worry about any of that.
So
And
then my answer would be I think it could work. I do. Um, when I actually tried mollies in one of my saltwater seahorse tanks. When I first put them in the 65, I had that 29-gallon, and then I added a sump, and then Dan was like, "That's still not good enough, Kelly. Now they're having babies. You need more, you know." So
mhm,
got the 65, and I tried freshwater mollies, and I don't know if I didn't do it properly, or I don't know. Like, I would say if you're going to try with mollies, you need to make sure you really know the way to do it,
how to convert
because
them. Mhm.
how to convert them, because I did. They lived, but not long, right? And I honestly don't know the lifespan of a molly. Maybe it's not very long, but I'm talking about I started losing them after a month. And that could be, again, because I didn't convert them correctly. I don't know. But they just didn't last long in saltwater. I know they can be brackish and all that. Maybe my salinity was too high. I don't know. I just never had luck with the mollies in saltwater. So I can't actually answer your question.
Mhm.
But considering how they do eat things, I think it's a good idea to try. Do it and make a video for us.
Yeah.
And I saw you earlier say one of these days, Zen, you have to follow through now. I don't care. You have to. We need
Yeah.
you to have seahorses. But,
Yeah.
anyways, all right.
Yeah, I would say it could probably be. I've never converted mollies, but I've known people that have done it, and
Yeah.
had success. So I think if you do it right, it is a thing, but I've never done it myself.
But so, does anyone know how long mollies usually can survive once they're converted properly in saltwater? I wonder that
What's their
because,
lifespan normally? Because it might not matter. They might just not have a long
oh my God.
lifespan.
So, Jeff, you've
5
had
years.
up to
That's
5 years, but that's in freshwater, right? I'm
But
guessing.
that's typical fish. A lot of fish live kind of long, in my mind. When you
Right.
look them up and like wow, like I had a toad live 17 years, and that's why I'm raising tadpoles into froglets right now and turning them loose in my yard. They're
Oh,
native
wow.
that I rescued from a bucket in my yard, but that's why I'm not keeping any of them, because one time I was hiking and I rescued a tadpole, or didn't rescue it. I scooped up a tadpole in a coffee cup and brought it home with some other I raised it. It became a toad native to where I live, and I had to take care of the damn thing for 17 years until it, and we're talking feeding it crickets, and it was a pet food bill, and I'm like, I'm not keeping any more frogs. They live too damn long. So, I mean,
So
fish and stuff, a lot of stuff lives longer than you think it's gonna when you
it
look it
does.
up. So, but I don't have any experience with mollies. So,
I know
but
people that
I
have,
would guess it's comparable. Like if you do it right, I bet the lifespan's comparable saltwater to fresh. If
maybe, I do wonder, Jeff, you're going to have to do an experiment for us now. You're going to have to convert some of your mollies to saltwater, preparing for your seahorse tank, of course. But in the meantime, just to let us know, if you convert them properly, how long
yeah,
do
what's
they live that
expected?
way?
Mhm.
Because I just think the chemical, like, I'm not saying that it's wrong, because, like, even seahorses move from different salinity of
Yeah,
water.
it's part of their
Right. So
habitat. in the wild, like if they live near estuaries, if a fish lives in saltwater near an estuary or they live in a river near the ocean, I think they adjust
Sure.
well.
So I'm just saying, Jeff, do us an experiment, put convert them properly, and let us know how it goes, because I'm not saying it's wrong or anything like that, because they probably could do it in the wild, and it's just their chemical makeup. Probably I just got it wrong in the conversion. So I'm very curious to know, because I think Zen's question was a good one. Jeff's going to do it for us, he said.
Hey.
And Zen said that Google says 2 to 3 years is likely. So obviously I screwed up with a
Uh,
month. But
2 to 3 years is not a long lifespan for a fish, though. So that's where
it's
you're
not.
within that ballpark.
But if they're 5 years, anyways, I mean, I'm not.
Five
I'm gonna
years
leave that
max,
alone.
like if they're freshwater, yeah. So they're not a way long living fish, really. Not like koi, like Jeff says. So
Yeah, Jeff said 226 years. I'm not getting any koi
hey,
anytime soon. I know people that have kept seahorses in their tanks for 14 years, you guys.
yeah,
14 years. And you
yes,
look in the books and it says they only survive a year. No, no, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
That's not true. Not true
yeah.
at all. Ray, what's the longest you had a seahorse live?
I honestly don't remember now.
So 50 years?
No,
Just kidding.
I've never had any.
Yeah.
I don't think I've made it over the 10 years. I think the longest one was just a little under.
Hmm.
Still, even 10 years, that's quite a
Yeah, but that
you
was
know
only one. I think the
accomplishment.
next ones were probably in the 7 and 8 year range.
7-ish. Yeah. That's
Seven ish
that's
is average.
mostly what I hear. But yeah, you hear 15, and I'm like,
Well,
I
and
got
so
a
when
long way to go. If Dandy lives to freaking 15.
so I just want to say, though, anybody who does start with seahorses, you have to take this all in stride, right? I, all my
Mhm.
seahorses didn't live till 15. There were reasons. It doesn't really matter. It's not. If
Yeah.
your seahorse lives a good life and you provide for it,
Yeah.
and it dies of natural causes after 7 or 8 years,
Yeah, that's about right.
that's
So
about
from
right.
what I hear.
So, all
And
right.
I'm seriously though, I'm kind of almost crossing my fingers though I don't have any make it to 15 because I don't know if I can handle that myself.
Holly, you're not supposed to say that live.
I
You're
have
not supposed to say
goldfish
that
that
live.
are almost 20 now. You'll see when you come, goldfish are actually a pretty cool personality wise fish too. And I
Sure.
have a tank in my house of big goldfish that we rescued from our pond because raccoons used to come and
Hmm.
slaughter goldfish. So we saved goldfish and we put them in a big 60-gallon in my house. They survived our month-long evacuation from the fire
Yep.
years ago when every other fish in my house died. The goldfish made it, and they're getting up there. They're getting close to 20 years old now, and they have
Wow.
some personality. They come and look at like the seahorses do. They come and watch you and want to be hand fed, and there's some cool fish too, but goldfish, koi, they have some long lives. I think goldfish is like 25, 30 years or something. And
Yeah,
I some of these critters that you don't think of as probably having a long life
they
have
do. Yeah.
really long lives that you have to kind of think about when you're getting yourself into keeping them.
Yeah, but yeah, it's if you do things right too, as Sam was saying, happy seahorses. So, and Zen said, Holly, shush, you're using your, and not outside voice, she's using her after party voice. We talk about all
Yeah,
sorts of stuff. You need
yeah,
to join us, Zen. You need to come in the video. You don't have to show yourself. You can just talk with us, and then you
yeah,
get to come to the after party. But
yeah.
anyways, All right, guys. So, any other questions for tonight? Because I've got myself a list here. I got to get with Sam to get the muriatic acid list of what, when, how, why, and then I've got to get these macros into my observation tank and
Mhm.
take some pictures. I've got to post some pictures showing you guys which ones I will rinse and which ones I won't and why. Maybe try to finish an article about it. I've got to finish cleaning the Seahorse tank because I was halfway through when we started. So I've got tons of crap to do, and I still have to. I haven't even started packing, Holly, for California.
Well, pack light. It's going to be hot.
I know you said that. I went to actually, you guys totally ballpark left field here, but I went and I did something I never do because I don't trust the online sites. I'm one of those people that's like, you know, I ordered from Sheen and
I have this.
I really like the stuff that I got. It's obviously flimsy. It
Yeah.
won't, it'll last my vacation and then it'll
Not
probably
good
be in the
for
trash.
sports, but it's good for looking good
Yeah.
and getting tan.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cute stuff. I'm really happy. So we'll post pictures, of course, selfies, and you guys will get to see my new outfits too. But we'll do lots of cool, fun Seahorse things. Hey, Jeff, I love that you joined us. Tell more of your freshwater friends. The conversation isn't strictly about seahorses, right? It's more about water chemistry, how long fish live, mollies converting. It's never um inclusive, I guess is the word. So we want, and we love
Yeah.
that you're joining us. We really appreciate it. In fact, we often like to have guests on that have nothing to do with seahorses. Last week Graham Short was obviously to do with seahorses, but like, we've had plenty that are doing something else that just want to come share. We'd love to hear what you're doing. So if you want to come share, get a hold of me. We'd love to have you as a guest or just have you join just to chat because obviously you know water chemistry and fish very well. And we will talk you into seahorses. Don't worry. We will. But, anyways, if there's no other questions, I am going to end it tonight. I'm trying to get these things shorter. Not that I don't love being with you guys all night, but I just told you my list. I got all this shit to do. So, did we see any other questions I missed? Are we good? I will do my best to get Cheryl back in here. I know a lot of you guys have questions for her specifically. Um, we're going to work on it because she does want to come back. We just got to get her back into the technological part of it. But I will work on that. And I guess with that, guys, I'll see you next week from California. I'm so excited. So freaking
Me
excited.
too.
I've never been. So it's going to be
Well,
amazing.
Ray's right though. Temps are going to plummet all the way down to 98
Nothing.
and 110 in Sac. So
So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be like, she's full of it. It's great here. Plus, you guys, right? The other thing I'm really, when I told Holly I wanted to experience the heat of California, what I meant was, because she's making it sound crazy.
I'm
What
like,
I
just you
meant
wait. You're going to
was,
experience the heat, Kelly.
what I meant was, I want to experience the dry heat
It was
because I'm
winter when you said that, though. I'll give you that. It was
but what I'm saying,
Indiana winter. So,
right. But what I'm saying is, I'm used to heat where you're just the humidity makes you freaking miserable, right? When it's hot here, you are just miserable.
yeah.
I want to be hot and not miserable because I love heat. I'd
Oh,
rather
you'll
be hot than
still
cold.
be miserable, Kelly. Don't get me wrong.
Watch, you guys. I'll love
110
it.
is not comfortable heat.
I'm going to love it. You guys will
But I'm
see.
a little cooler because I'm in the mountains, so we'll probably be below 100 when you come. We'll be in the 90s probably. And
Bonnie,
when you fly into Sacramento, I think it'll be like 110, 112.
we'll see how it
And it'll
goes.
be
I'll
the worst.
report.
But we're going to sit inside of Joe's Crab Shack and have some cocktails and food. So,
Yep, we'll be good.
the
Hey,
river.
Bonnie, I'm sorry we're ending right after you joined. If you have any last minute questions, I'm cool with it, or because we love that you come and we miss you when you're not here. So, or next week, make sure you're with us because I'll be in California, but we still need that back and forth in the conversation. And you always ask great questions. So I'm just glad to see you here, Bonnie. But since I don't see any questions for right now, we'll be back next week, guys. Hope to see everybody there. Happy Wine Wednesday. Everybody say cheers.